Welcome in to a Friday edition of the Jordy Culotta Show here, driven and powered by Go Chevrolet, live on this Friday edition. Make sure you hit that like button, share button, comment button. We appreciate you ending your week here with us as we will talk to Giovanni DiGiacomo, a LSU baseball player who has put his name into the transfer portal. Gio will be here at 8 a.m. this morning. We will talk to him via video and talk to him about this past season, how he landed on the portal, and what could be next for the fine Italian as he's moving on out of Baton Rouge. We will also talk, hopefully, Nick Underhill. We got a text in, Nick. Hit him with a early morning text about a possible 8:30 visit with Underhill. More photos, more pictures of Tyrann Mathieu coming out in the black and gold. It is football porn. We will put that up, some of the images of Tyrann. But great return on Mathieu being out there. His leadership, which I don't think surprises anybody, is already starting to be picked up and is a strong suit of the New Orleans Saints defense. That's good to hear. Hopefully we can patch up with Nick Underhill before we get out of here at 9 a.m. this morning. It is the dog days of summer are here. The 7-on-7 LSU football camp is today. Stewie and crew heading out here for FM Digital Media, so hopefully we'll have some video from today. But all the headliners going to be down here. Shelton Sampson's down here, number 1 wide receiver, as he will take part in it, and then he'll make a official visit to Florida State for the weekend. Eli Holstein and Zachary will be on campus. Arch Manning and the Newman Greenies will be down on campus. Ricky Collins and the Woodlawn Panthers. Jaden Alsbury and the University High Cubs. It will be a who's who of recruiting on LSU's campus today, and all of them playing in the 7-on-7 tournament. So hopefully we can get some interviews and some images for you that you can follow with us on YouTube. Make sure you are subscribed, like, share, comment. We appreciate that. As we tell you, we're brought to you by Go Chevrolet. Every single day, our phone line, which we will talk to Gio DiGiacomo coming up here at 8 a.m. and hopefully Nick Underhill before 9 a.m. is always brought to you by Metropolitan Health Group. Real doctors, real solutions. Get in touch with Jason Ramazan and Charlie Harvey over at Metropolitan Health Group. Real doctors, real solutions. We always appreciate their support here on the Jordy Culotta Show. How are we feeling this morning? Good morning.
How often? Oh, good morning. Good morning. How often does the early morning text work? If you give it a percentage, does it depend on the person, or is it just a
below 50?
Okay, good
below
percentage.
50. Tough. Below 50.
Yeah. Well, I mean, do you ever get those before you did morning radio, or if you? I mean, there's nothing that starts before 7. I wouldn't imagine, but if you got one 6:30, can you come on at 7:15? Ooh, roll over.
We'll ask Nick if it's too early. He and I are close enough to ask if I have offended him. I remember Johnny Jones told me one time when he was the LSU head basketball coach. I sent him a text message at 3:30 in the morning because I just couldn't sleep, and I was asking him if he could come on the next morning, and he answered it. He called me by calling me. He called me at 6:30 before we went on. He said, "Man, I'll come on with you whenever you want it. But let me tell you something. If you ever send me a text message at 3:30 in the morning again," my wife checked my phone and wanted to know who I was talking to. When I showed him with you, she wants to beat your ass too.
Anybody can get the smoke.
Yeah, right. So I was like, all right, that's probably a good point. That's probably a good point. So since then, I mean, I've calmed down a little bit, but I still get a little bold sometimes, and we'll send the, pre-5:30 a.m. text.
I think you're still haunted by the Reggie Bush incident. I think it still lives rent-free.
Wait, what happened with Reggie Bush?
Oh gosh, man. My biggest loss as a guest shout out to Devery Henderson, just announced to the New Orleans Saints Hall of Fame. When they announced Reggie to the Hall of Fame, he was down here in New Orleans, and he and I had gone back and forth on text message before, but we could never lock up an interview because he was always on West Coast time. And he would be like, "Bro, I'm not waking up. At 5 o'clock in the morning.
You can catch me walking out the club.
I mean, if you can catch me on Central Time, maybe, But, other than that, it ain't happening. And I hit him with a text message before I went to bed. It was 10:30 at night. It was the night that he got announced into the Hall of Fame, and I didn't know he was in Louisiana. And I sent a text message, and my phone I have notifications off from 10 p.m. until 5 a.m. And I hit him with a text message of, Congratulations, man. Would love to get you on the show. Are you available tomorrow morning? We can make it work around your time. And, like, put the phone down, went to bed, and woke up the next morning at, like, 4, and he had hit me back, like, 3 minutes later. It was like, yeah, I can make it work. What time? Oh. And then he hit me back, like, another one, like, what time? Oh, no, man. And I was freaking out. I mean, like, I called him at, like, 5:30 in the morning, 6 in the morning, texted him, blowing him up. And he hit me like 20 minutes after the show in and said he's catching a plane and going back to L.A. It was just a dagger. 2 ships passing in the night. I'm sure it was probably like, yeah, what? Like 6 text messages in a row. Like I'm gonna call him.
Yes.
Yeah. I know it was Psycho X.
It had to be.
It was Psycho X.
Got to be Psycho X.
Yeah.
Worth it if you get him.
Worth it.
And then he was probably like, I'm not going on this show.
Yeah,
oh my god.
This guy, man. You had your chance, bro.
Missed it.
You had your chance. No, it was devastating. I'm still not over it, sure.
That's where a lot of this energy comes from.
No, it is. But we will talk to Gio DiGiacomo about his decision to leave LSU and go into the transfer portal. Might see a couple of these coming out for LSU baseball. I think Jay Johnson is in the part of the calendar right now where he's having the tough discussions, tough decisions, tough choices that he's having to make about building this roster into the future. And we will talk to Gio on how he got to that decision coming up here at 8 o'clock this morning. NBA Finals tonight, Game 4. This is a pivotal game here for Golden State as it's going to be interesting to see how this thing works out with Steph Curry a little banged up after Game 3 as he was noticeably limping off the podium after the post-game press conference following his Game 3 performance where he played really good, but after he had his knee rolled up on in the fourth quarter, he never really was, or late in the third quarter, he never really was the same. You wonder how that is going to affect him. In fact, my bet tonight on what's the bet? 1-0.
1-0
on the Atlanta Braves bets.
That felt like a good pick.
Every day.
Scouted the lines.
Make sure that you are signed up for Caesars Sportsbook. Download the app. Get the Caesars Sportsbook app, as you can download it and use the promo code FM15. That is the letter F, the letter M. 15 is the promo code to save you money on your first bet over at Caesars Sportsbook. Use the promo code FM15. I think what's the bet? Little preview for what's coming up in the show today. Is Steph Curry under the 28.5? I mean, I think he's obviously hurt, and I think that the emotion of this series could get swept up tonight for Golden State. I like Boston to win the game. They're favored by 4. I don't know if it'll be a 4-point game, but I think that Boston really flexed their muscles last time out and saw some things and figured some things out, and Golden State has regressed as far as whether or not Steph's going to be healthy or not, right? I mean, like, he has played Steph Curry basketball through the first 3 games of this series, and you wonder if he can carry the load tonight on a bum ankle or a bum knee, whatever he's nursing going into tip-off. A bet that makes sense to me over at Caesars Sportsbook that they're offering up is Steph Curry minus, or his point total 28.5, and I would bet the under there, just because of where his health is. I could get burned, because Steph could, you never know, just go nuclear like he has the potential of doing. But
well, sometimes they get that cortisone shot or that Toradol shot. You can't feel anything. Kind of loosens up the mind a little bit. You go out there unconscious, and then after the game, you're like, "What just happened? What did I do to myself?" But there's a chance of that, but I'm kind of with you because it's one of the classic "don't overthink it," I would imagine. And then you saw what the Celtics did, and if Steph's not healthy, you've heard both Draymond and Clay, we go with Steph goes.
Yeah.
Like, that's their engine. And if the thing can't run, I don't really know who they turn to. It would have to be the Jordan Poole show, I would imagine. And that's not quite Steph Curry. He's shown flashes, but the fact that they've put kind of everything on Steph, and he's performed, and they still are down 2-1, and now you might have a 80-85% Steph. I don't see how, especially with the way that they've placated to this crowd, and they started complaining. What do you think Boston people are going to do?
Yeah.
Like, that's their bread and butter. That's exactly what they want to happen. And so now they're going to be even more fired up. Everybody that was at the game is going to go back to the game, and it's going to be an all-time, like, put up or shut up for the Golden State Warriors, because you did this to yourself. If you would have been like, oh, the crowd wasn't a factor, we enjoy playing in that environment, it was the opposite. It was like, I just don't cuss in front of little kids. What do you think happens in playoff games? What do you think happened? Come to Tiger Stadium. Jesus. You see people, like, right there ticket to hell on Saturday nights. I don't know I just don't understand the logic of like, oh, you're going to police the Boston crowd and tell them how to raise their kids? All right, I got one for you.
What are you talking about with some of the comments that I saw what Klay Thompson said?
Yeah.
Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah, I'm talking about Klay, and then Draymond was kind of doing the same thing.
Well, I mean, Draymond.
Right.
What do you expect, man? I mean, like,
you've been here before.
I mean, you gotta know you're walking into an absolute hornet's nest after the stuff that you've talked about and the way that you carry yourself on the floor. I mean, he had to know Boston was going to be ready for him. I mean, the "F you Draymond" chants, the "Draymond sucks" chants. I mean, look, he only had 2 points. He was ineffective, and I think that definitely had something to do with the his performance. Even though I got to imagine that he loves playing that role. I mean, he's got to love being the heel in a place like Boston, where you can turn a crowd upside down like that. And really, he just kind of let him in. I mean, they got him. They got the best of him.
And it's not like
that matchup,
right? And it's not what about his game is going to change? Like, does he still have? Do you remember? Was it game 7 when against the Cavs? Whenever the Cavs are coming back 3-1, and Draymond I think dropped like 35 or 31, and he was kind of carrying the Golden State Warriors. I don't know if he can really do that anymore. The only thing that Draymond can do is be more like Draymond. Like, if you're going to fire him up, he's just going to act more. He's going to just be more antagonistic than anything. He doesn't have like a real like go-to scorer that he can be. It's like he can't really change the game in that way. He could be more, I guess he could bring more intensity on the defensive end, but that's really all he can do. He can help lead the team and play that point forward if they get rolling, but he's really not going to help you on the offensive end that much. That's
why I like Boston in this series tonight and to close this thing out possibly pretty quick is because I don't know what Golden State can do any different. In fact, I mean, if you're telling me that Steph's banged up and he can't play like he's been, giving you the output like he has, I don't know where you turn. I don't know where you turn to see if you can't get, more meaningful minutes. I know we talked about, guys like Kuminga and bringing those guys off, but that's just really for some energy and some spurts that you're looking for from Golden State. You got to have Steph, Klay, and crew producing, and if Steph's banged up and he can't go and you don't know what you're going to get from Draymond, I just think that this series it's very lopsided when you look at it through that prism, because to me the difference makers in this series are guys like Robert Williams, guys like Grant Williams, guys like Derek White, guys, Al Horford, ancillary parts for Boston, because look, Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum, one of them is going to be on one night, and in the instance of Game 3, both of them were on. So I mean, it's going to be rare to find action around Boston and with the Celtics where your superstars aren't performing, and if they're performing, and then guys like White are hitting 3-pointers, and Al Horford's knocking down shots, and Grant Williams is getting rebounds and putbacks, and Robert Williams is blocking shots and running the floor and getting run out dunks. They're just, to me, I don't know what Golden State can do. I don't think that they have the personnel. It's crazy to say, because Golden State has always been so significantly better just from a talent and personnel standpoint than their opponents, that I don't know how it feels for you, but it feels like overnight Golden State has become the old team, right? Like, and I guess it's the couple of years that they missed with being out of the playoffs and Steph being banged up and drafting Wiseman and struggling during that part, but now they're back in the finals 6 times in 8 years, and Steph Curry's got gray hair, Draymond Green's got gray hair, Klay Thompson's coming off of an Achilles and a knee injury where obviously physically that's taken its toll on him. And they're just a different bunch. They can still light you up, but if you have the defensive scheme and the personnel like Boston does, Boston's one of the best NBA defensive teams that I've seen in a while, man. And just in their just personnel ability, they've got so many guys that can match up in so many different spots, and they understand how to play really good team defense. They rotate, communicate. They do all the the little things that you have to play, effective defense on that level, really, they're exceptional at it. And it's probably, like the Brad Stevens carryover to Ime Udoka, who has, in my opinion, made his name as one of the top coaches in the NBA instantly. In fact, I think that was what the Los Angeles Lakers were trying to recreate with Darvin Ham, is a guy like Ham who has a really good reputation from an assistant coaching standpoint, a guy that a lot of the players relate to, a former player in the league, a lot like Udoka. I mean, if you look at Udoka and Ham's resume side by side, they're very similar to one another. And I think the Lakers are trying to recreate what Boston has found in Udoka on the bench. I mean, he went head to head with Eric Spoelstra in that Heat series.
That's incredible.
And really and truly probably won the battle of coaching. I mean, he did. I mean, in Game 7, the adjustments that he made inside of the game, what makes Eric Spoelstra so great is his ability to adjust real time. When you hear coaches or NBA personnel or people that respect the game or cover the game talk about Spoelstra, and Spoelstra is widely recognized as like a top 3 coach in the league. I think you're talking like Popovich, Nick Nurse up with Toronto, and Spoelstra are routinely talked about as guys that are, just kind of like a little bit advanced than the rest of the pack. And Udoka, and the reason why they talk about Spoelstra being in that mix is because, I mean, Spoelstra's story is nuts. He started as a video guy with the Miami Heat. Got into good graces with Pat Riley, and Pat Riley just kind of, accelerated his career into the head coaching spot where the next thing you know, he's coaching LeBron, D. Wade, and Chris Bosh for his first head coaching gig, winning championships. But when you hear people talk about Spoelstra's advantage is that he knows the game so well. He's seen it at every, angle. He's studied it with a guy like Pat Riley. He's lived it with, guys like LeBron James and Dwayne Wade, very, genius basketball players, is that he can break you down inside the game. He can make adjustments inside the game that, it's tough for people to adjust back to. And Udoka he went series for series with Spoelstra and really kind of beat him at that game, which to me, I thought really started to build the reputation of who he is. And if he's able to win a championship in year 1, the fact that he's got the franchise to the finals is a hell of a feather in the cap. But if you can close this thing out in year 1, this is a very young Boston roster that looks like it is going to be competitive for the next couple of years, man. It feels like, when you think about what Golden State has accomplished on the Western side of the NBA, when, 6 finals in the last 8 years, you look at Boston right now and the nucleus of their roster being so young, so athletic, and so good, you wonder if they can have a run like that. Because of a coach you also have in Udoka. They kind of figured this thing. It's got to be a very lonely time for Danny Ainge over in Utah right now. You know what I mean? You're losing Quinn Snyder, the coach. It looks like Donovan Mitchell is trying to force his way out, and you're looking up at Boston, a team that he really put together.
He's playing house with my kids.
Yeah, he drafted all those guys. I think he was the one that told Brad. He hired Brad Stevens, but he told Brad Stevens, like, hey, man, I don't know if your coaching style is going to be able to last in the NBA. I don't know if you can be a drill sergeant anymore. I don't know if you can demand these guys like you do in college, like you did in college. Maybe you should think about an executive role. I don't think that Ainge, when he was pitching that, figured that
pitching my job,
Stevens would take his job. But that's ultimately what happened. They moved Brad Stevens from the bench to the executive desk upstairs, and they promote Udoka, the assistant coach, to the head coach. And next thing you know, it felt like you found lightning in a bottle. But when you watch Boston play and watch, Ime Udoka coach. I mean, this guy's legit. I mean, he wins this championship and closes it out. I mean, he's a top 5 coach in the NBA tonight.
And you have to feel like Brad Stevens probably feels a little weird about it, because it's almost the same scenario. It's like, I was coaching these guys, wasn't going nearly as well as this, but it's the same players, and he's taken a bigger job, but not the same job. Like everybody that is a general manager, or whatever, probably had at some point had aspirations to be a coach, but he actually has done both, and he sees that he probably sees the game through such a different lens, coaching these guys. And you see how they're playing so much better for a different head coach. He's like, I guess Ainge was right. I feel Ainge definitely got the short end of that stick, having to go.
For sure. I mean, and he's like he's a Celtic.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, I mean, he's
lucky.
He drinks, I mean, he drinks the green water, man. You know what I mean? I mean,
Celtics are the balls.
It was like the Celtics at the Eastern Conference Finals. You got Cedric Maxwell handing out the Larry Bird Award for the John Havlicek Trophy to the Boston Celtics. It's like, Jesus, man. I mean,
it's too much incest.
But you know, it does feel like that they're not going anywhere. Mm-hmm. I mean, they are built to last in the NBA because
he's winning on and off the court.
Who's that?
Udoka.
Oh, really?
Yeah, wife's Nia Long.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
I was wondering what she was doing at the game the other night.
Nia Long is his wife.
I saw Nia Long and Nelly sitting courtside.
Yeah, well, that's Coach's wife.
Okay. Yeah, Udoka, bro. What do you play, 8 years in the league? I mean, he didn't have like this.
He wasn't a great.
It's kind of like Willie Green. I mean, is that the formula?
That's
now?
what it seems like.
Darvin Ham, Willie Green, Ime Udoka. You know what I mean? Like that seems to be the sweet spot. By the way, David Griffin sat down with Ryan Russillo in the latest Ryan Russillo podcast. If you were a Pelicans fan looking for the latest on what the Pelicans outlook is, the story behind Zion from the Pelicans' point of view, how Griffin feels about the future of the Pelicans, it's a great listen. But I mean, if you want the footnotes of it, they are prepared to offer Zion the max deal. Like when Russillo painted the question to him, he's like, hold up, look, man, this is not a hard decision for the franchise, coming from Griffin's point of view. They are prepared to offer him, I believe, the $185 million Supermax deal to Zion, which nobody has ever turned down in this situation, right? When your rookie deal runs up and New Orleans has the first opportunity to offer this deal to him. Nobody's ever turned this down. And Griffin said, without question, they are sprinting to the negotiating table to drop that contract off to Zion. And Griffin makes a couple of good points. As he points out, he is a historic he's an historically good basketball player in 2 positions already in 85 games. He's only played 85 regular season games.
Basically a season.
And said, when you look at the way he played with his back to the basket his rookie year, when they had him at right there at the jump, he was unstoppable, historically good, Shaquille O'Neal good on the lower block. And then when Van Gundy put him at the point Zion spot, historically good NBA player. So, I mean, like from a franchise standpoint, it's mindless on getting this deal done. And then he goes back and kind of details the last 12 months on how it got a little
hairy. Yeah,
it got a little prickly from just the perception of it. When you hear him tell it, it's very overblown. It's very, the information to the public is, we don't know the whole story. We don't know exactly what's going on. The Pelicans were kept up to speed. He does go in and say, now look, if he had a problem with me and he didn't like me, I can't speak, there's nothing that I can speak on there. But from all, from what Griffin lays out, Zion's in the building every day. They're in clear communication with both sides, whether it's the medical team or it's the players' camp, and everything seems to be trending in such a great direction for the Pelicans, and most notably Zion going into this part of his career. So if you listen to the latest Russillo podcast with David Griffin, it seems like all things are good on the Pelicans and getting that deal wrapped up with Zion, a part of the franchise into the future. He also talks about the C.J. McCollum stuff and what it meant to the franchise, and really again, a little bit more in depth on what that means to players around the league. Russillo asks him specifically on how he sells New Orleans to free agents, or how he presents the city to players that are on the market, because, quite frankly, the city's not for everybody. Right? Like Russillo tells the story. It was like, Dave, when I graduated college, we took the inevitable fellas trip down to New Orleans. We did our weekend. By Sunday morning, I was like, get me out of this hellhole.
That's one way to do it.
And then he said, I kind of started coming around LSU games and got to know some people down there in South Louisiana. He dated a girl from New Orleans for a while. He got to know the city, and he was like, I fell in love with the place. I mean, it was like, it feels like an international city. It's very cultured. It's very creative. Now, look, I know a lot of us down here in this part of the country that have been going to New Orleans all of our lives. We look at it right now as a rat hole because of the crime and the politics and the leadership and everything that's around it. But all in all, we can agree the city is a beautiful place when it's right. And Griffin goes into what C.J. McCollum coming down to New Orleans and embracing the city meant for not only the locker room, not only the franchise, but the message that it sent to the rest of the league, because he's the Players Association president, and just how much strength his voice carries within the NBA fraternity. I mean, think about the group messages that C.J. McCollum is in. The text messages from players around the world, not just around the NBA, everywhere. And by all accounts, C.J. McCollum has fully wrapped his arms around the city, the franchise, Zion. Did you see his message to Zion last week when he was on ESPN? Mm-hmm. I mean, he's getting him up to New York. He's working out with him. He's going to be alongside Zion to make sure that he's doing all of his work. And, from Zion's benefit and his point of view, you're working with one of the most respected, well-liked, best players on the team in the league. And it just seems like all the things are heading in the right direction.
Did you come away from that interview liking David Griffin anymore? Because I know we've kind of both been on the fence. I thought he was the right hire at the right time. Then he made a cavalcade of mistakes right out the jump. Then he's got Zion kind of on the fence. But then he makes the move to get Willie Green in as head coach. He trades away Steven Adams, brings in Jonas Valanciunas. You see how he's drafted. Like, he started to right the ship a little bit. Now it seems he has Zion back on board. The C.J. McCollum trade might have single-handedly saved his job.
He says that.
Yeah, does he?
I mean, pretty much.
Yeah, I mean...
but
I don't know if hearing him actually speak changed your tune a little bit, just because...
It did. It changed. He's still very philosophical in the way, he still talks about... Which I kind of have respect for. I mean, David Griffin seems like he's an old hippie. Mm-hmm. He seems very
worldly,
very much so.
Open-minded.
The way that he talks about people, he talks about Willie Green, and he talks about the vibrations he feels when he walks into the room. I mean, it's some heady stuff.
Yeah, that's a little much.
I mean? It's like he puts off these vibes of
Have you taken
leadership
your dose today, David?
Exactly. Right. I mean, when you hear him talking, he's very. It's all good, man.
Yeah, all right, we'll figure it out.
Yeah, it's all good, man.
We'll get Zion the
No need to worry. No need to worry. I guess we can give Stan Van Gundy a chance. Are you sure you want to do that, man? I don't think that's a good idea.
If not, we'll have to let him go.
Right, and we can just start over. 3 coaches in 3 years, no biggie.
Yeah.
You're time. I don't know, man. This is not a good thing. And he references that where you look up and you got 3 coaches in 3 years. You've swung and a missed on a couple of players, but then he kind of goes in the Herb Jones drafting, scouting. Mm-hmm. Obviously Valanciunas being able to make the trade for him, Jose Alvarado, getting guys like that, and the development of a guy like Trey Murphy,
right?
How he was brought along. And, obviously the addition of C.J. McCollum on just what it meant to the organization. So it's I do come away from that interview, trusting Griffin in the role that he's in, understanding of what they're building, what they have access to right now and where the Pelicans really are. I mean, even Russillo, who's, he's a hoop junkie. He's an NBA junkie, really. And him talking about the overall feeling of their team, you can hear what is a respected voice that covers the NBA really detailing a franchise that makes a lot of sense for a lot of people right now. You know what I mean? Like it's an attractive franchise. It's one that feels like they are right there on the come up of possibly kind of exploding onto the scene, and all these parts and pieces fall into place. And I don't know if we can really estimate how valuable Willie Green is to the entire process. I mean, like, it seems like they have put a ton of stock into the voice of what Willie Green and the vision of what Willie Green is trying to create, has created, has begun creating in New Orleans, where it's a lot of the day-to-day operations of just the way that you treat the players is coming from Green. And I think that Green is, a lot like we mentioned with Udoka, he's very easy to
relate. It's relatable.
Yes, and he's very easy to like. One thing that when you watch like Udoka, Green, like those guys, like even Green at the end of the year when he's like walking around in the middle of the floor, like crying, talking to his players, man. I mean, some people may look at that like, it may be like a facade, fake but I mean, it's not, you can tell that this guy is so, and then after you hear David Griffin speak of him, I mean, he's so invested into this opportunity and into this team that it's a cool time to be a Pelicans fan. I mean, you can feel it. It feels like they're about to jet set on a really cool period into the franchise's life because of just the players and the people and all of the collection of talent that they have at this one moment. It feels like they're kind of ready to take it on because of all the parts feel like they're in place.
And that's why you can see what the Lakers are trying to do. They're probably trying to catch that same lightning in a bottle. And it feels like the NBA has always had former players as coaches, but it feels like they shifted to a younger demographic, and maybe that's what has kind of spurned the guys on a little bit more to, like, it's more relatable as opposed to a Van Gundy who is 65, and it's like, I don't want to, like, it's hard. That whole model, like you even said with Brad Stevens, of the authoritarian, like, coming at you, and it's like, it's not fun to go to practice. Like, bro, we're grown men too. We understand the game of basketball. You don't have to talk to me like I'm in high school or college. Like, we can all get on the same page here without being, essentially bitched at every day. And I feel like that's made a huge, like Willie Green, you see it, like the guys want to go play for him. That makes a huge difference in my mind, especially when you have a young team the way that the Pelicans do.
Remember, Johnson Spillers is our dentist over here on the Jordy Culotta Show. You can find him online at johnsonspillers.com. They've got a couple of locations for you in Gonzales and in Baton Rouge. Stop in and see them. If you need general dentistry, they can take care of you. If you need anything done from pediatric dentistry, you can get in touch with them as well online. johnsonspillers.com. johnsonspillers.com is where you locate them on the website. You can request an appointment right there. If you're a first-time visitor, you can check out all of the services that they offer over there. Anything you need from a dental standpoint, they can take care of you. If you're looking for some Botox or some Brotox, they can help you out over at Johnson Spillers as well. johnsonspillers.com online. And on social media. You can find them on Facebook to keep up with what's happening at Johnson Spillers. Baton Rouge locations on Perkins Road, in between Bluebonnet and Segan, and then out in Gonzales on Prepara Avenue. Tell them you heard it right here on the Jordy Culotta Show. Make sure you hit that like button, share button, comment button. Was over at LSU yesterday. 1,200 kids on campus for the Brian Kelly Youth Camp on LSU's football facility yesterday. They were using every blade of grass to take up all the campers. All 5 practice fields in play. They had they had games and things going on in the indoor. So right now is camp season for college football teams and college football coaches around the country.
Coaches' wives.
Yes, Brian Kelly was walking the practice field yesterday, snapping shots and taking pictures with all of the kids that were yelling his name and all of the parents that were looking to meet him. It was a great day for LSU football. Little Jay and his crew had a great time out there. Today it switches over to offensive lineman, defensive lineman camp and the 7-on-7 elite camp. Last weekend we saw the skills elite on Sunday, where they brought in a lot of players from around. They're doing their evaluations right now. Saw Frank Wilson, saw Jamar Cain, saw Joe Sloan, saw everybody out there yesterday. And look, yesterday's a little bit more of an exercise of get out there and have some fun. But look, this is the camp. Like I was reminded yesterday by an LSU staffer. This is the camp, talking about yesterday's camp, the youth camp, where you've got 5th to 8th graders just running all around LSU's practice facility. That's the camp where they found Dylan Moses. That's the camp where they found some of these young, up and coming youth football players, and just been able to recognize them. Right, get a name, get a contact, get a dad or a mom's cell phone number where you can keep in touch. I saw a pair of 6th graders from New Orleans yesterday, a quarterback and a wide receiver, that were playing Tiger ball that looked like they were in 9th grade. They looked freakishly big for their size, and I was standing right next to one of their parents, and they're all legit. The guy's like, dad's like, I travel with the birth certificate. I asked about the birth certificate on every AAU basketball court and every every tackle football field. Constantly people are asking, where's the birth certificate? I keep one right here. Because I asked him, I said, he was talking very knowledgeable about these group of kids that had made it their way over from New Orleans, and they stood out, right? Little Jay was playing with a couple of his AAU buddies and some of his friends that he has played with, and they had a good little squad in Tiger ball, and they were a year below this particular team from New Orleans. But during kind of a break, they were kind of matching up, and they were going back and forth at each other, these two little teams that had a couple of dogs on each side. But this New Orleans group that we were watching, they were like a click bigger, stronger, faster, right? Just that one. 11 to 12 years old is a huge gap.
Yes.
It's a huge gap. You start to see, like, you can see the difference in the fields. Like when you're looking at 9 and 10 and 11 and 12, like 9 and 10 still yelling, throw me the ball, throw me the ball. Like then 10 and 11 and 12, they're kind of like talking some shit. You know what I mean? Like they're kind of shoving each other after the play. They're kind of, when they make a play, they get in your face and let you know about it. You start to see, that's when, obviously hormones, puberty, their balls are starting to drop, right? And these cats from New Orleans, I was saying like this, and I had just heard where, that like this is where they found Dylan Moses at a camp like that where, there's 1,200 kids running around, but there's one or two out there that you're like, hey, let me talk to your dad. You know what I mean? Like, let me get your dad's cell phone number. And a couple of them from New Orleans, you could see, are just physically gifted. Compared to their peers.
Baby Gronk.
No. But it was, and then like today, like you'll Stewie, like you'll be out. We're gonna head out to this 7-on-7 tournament, and everybody knows Arch, Eli, Ricky Collins, Jaden Osbury, Shelton Sampson. Nobody's really going out there to see them. Like the players that they find today on these teams that come in are the ones that are going to make the biggest jump and benefit. Somebody's going to earn a scholarship today. Mm-hmm. Whether it's like a sophomore up and coming that nobody knows about, or it's a junior or senior that people have been kind of waiting on him to make a play or two, or let them see them on a campus, or see them in a situation like they're getting into over the next 12 hours. This is the peak of recruiting season for college football coaches, whether it's evaluating 5th through 8th graders like they did yesterday, or they'll have, every top program in the state pretty much on their campus today playing 7-on-7, where they can just walk around practice field to practice field, and it's all legal and good to just sit there and run a camera and film somebody on who you're interested in and go shake a hand and talk to people and relationship build and have this data and all this information that you can take back to your recruiting room and build your roster into the future. I mean, all of that is in full swing right now for LSU, Alabama. I mean, I talked to the guy who I was speaking with yesterday from New Orleans. He's loading these kids up into a car and heading to Texas A&M's football camp. They just got back from Alabama's football camp. They're going to Georgia's football camp. They're going to go out to USC's football camp next summer. You know, I mean, this is that time where you're able to get in front of college coaches and at least just introduce yourself. And everybody around the country is always looking for a South Louisiana recruit. Always. Whether you're in Lawrence, Kansas, Lincoln, Nebraska, Los Angeles, California, South Beach, Miami, or Baton Rouge, Louisiana, everybody wants to have some presence of a South Louisiana athlete on their roster. Because they're just built different. Mentally, physically.
So are coaches allowed to go to this?
Hell yeah, coaches are running the.
Okay,
they're running the.
I just didn't know if it was exclusive.
They're running
to
the drills.
I didn't know if it was exclusive to LSU. If other
no, it happens on every campus.
Okay, because I know. Was there a thing with Coach O and Tulane where they could only do it together, or they wouldn't be able to use the facility?
Yeah, they started doing, like, remember Coach O was the one that was putting the emphasis on guys staying in state. Like, he wanted everybody to stay in state, and he thought the way to do that was feed the state schools as well. Like, if there was a 3 or a borderline 4-star guy, or a guy that was on the fence for LSU that they had to make a choice. I can either take this guy or that guy, and I take this guy. We don't want this guy going to Texas A&M. You know what I mean? Or you don't want him to go, sit the bench for a couple of years at an SEC school. Let him go play at McNeese. Let him go play at Southeastern. Let him go play at Tulane. Let him go play at a state school to keep him in Louisiana rather than having him go outside the state. So they started to join up and do like these summer camps with other schools. Now, this was during COVID times where they were very limited. They couldn't do what they're doing right now on campus, where they lost like this on-campus evaluation period the last couple. Like Jack Besh in that class, they totally lost out on this time. Jack Besh would have never gone through his senior season waiting on an LSU offer if he would have had this experience going into that year. If he would have played this 7-on-7 tournament that St. Thomas More would have been in going into his senior year, and him and Walker Howard would have come over here and just diced everybody up, he'd have left this afternoon with an LSU offer going into the season. Right? I mean, that just, like, that COVID stuff, and David Griffin actually talks about it on the Rosillo podcast of, like, the how much you don't realize, like, COVID set back our society, right? I mean, it affected everything, everybody. But when you get granular on it and you start hearing about specific industries and trades on how it affected them, I mean, like Griffin was talking about the effect that COVID had on basketball, like just how on the little things that you were able to, that you weren't able to do and that you lost out on. A lot of it, like this stuff, evaluating players, prospects, stuff like that. The same can be said for college football. Nobody's making an argument that one side was affected worse than any other. But when you just start learning about how different places were affected, it's crazy, right? I mean, like a guy like Jack Besh didn't have a high SEC offer going into his senior year. I mean, Besh might be an all-SEC wide receiver in his second season in college football. You know what I mean? So this is so important to the roster building process of a college football team. Days like today. I mean, because not only do you have the 7-on-7 camp where you've got every skill player in the state of Louisiana on LSU's campus. Anybody who's anybody is going to be on LSU's campus today. You've got the 7-on-7 circuit that's going to be there with all the skill players, quarterbacks, running backs, wide receivers, DBs. And then you've got the offensive lineman, defensive lineman camp going on as well. So outside on the practice field, you've got all the skill players that you're evaluating. You got Mike Denbrock, you got Cortez Hankton, you got Robert Steeples, all these guys walking around just evaluating the skill. Inside, you got Brad Davis and Jamar Cain working hand in hand and training, telling the offensive linemen and defensive linemen, not only from the state, from around the country, on what they want to see. I mean, Brad Davis could line up Will Campbell against Quincy Wiggins just like he did last year at this camp to see, hey, how good are you? And then after that rep, he can tell Will Campbell, you should probably put your hands here on that big, fast son of a bitch so he can't get around you next time. In fact, you know what? Let's do it again. I mean, that's the power that they have in just what's going on today. I told Stewie, we got to get out there, man. I mean, you're going to see coaches from nearly every high school in the state, high schools from out of the state, prospects from all over the country, top 3 quarterbacks in the state of Louisiana, which are nationally renowned, some of the top wide receivers in the state, some of the top wide receivers and skill players in the country, all going to be on LSU's campus over the next 12 hours, with more camps to come. I mean, like, there's more camps that are set. I think it's the July, second weekend in July, which is like the elite football camp, like the invitation only. That's where Will Campbell and Quincy Wiggins went one-on-one last year, where you've got those types of prospects on campus and taking part in the camp. Like, they're not just walking around in shorts and a T-shirt. They got their cleats tied up and their helmet and chin strap on, and they're going one-on-one. So I love this stuff, man. I mean, from a recruiting standpoint and roster building standpoint, this is a fun day to get over to LSU and just watch all this stuff play out in front of you because, I mean, it's high-level competition. It is, if you are a competitive junkie, and I love competition, competitively, it is as juicy as you can find, man. And it'll be interesting to see Brian Kelly in that environment because talking to a couple of, they had high school coaches around yesterday, more just impressive feedback on Kelly and his staff. It seems like everybody is so impressed with the way that LSU has kind of pivoted quickly under Kelly's leadership. I think it goes into a little more on just how dysfunctional LSU was, right? I think that a lot of people even close to it are surprised at how quickly the feeling around the program has changed. They hadn't won a game yet. You don't know what they look like on the field. You haven't seen all that stuff yet, so it's unfair to give a full evaluation of it, but you can say up to this point, this is what you know. And up to this point, everybody that has seen, been a part, talking with, and is understanding what Brian Kelly is doing with LSU football is very impressed with him. And that goes from players that we talk to that are being recruited by him, high school coaches that are the front line of those recruiting conversations for prospective athletes, to current players. By the way, Emory Jones, freshman offensive lineman, already on campus, been on campus for a couple of weeks now, a projected possible starter for LSU going into his true freshman season, going to be in the studio with us today, 1 o'clock. Set your alerts. Just if you are subscribed to the YouTube channel and you've already clicked that bell, as soon as we go live, you'll be notified when it happens. If you've not subscribed and you have not hit the alert bell, make sure you do it now so at 1 o'clock this afternoon you can hear an in-depth conversation with a guy like with Emory Jones, who we will go into on what his rookie season, the expectations that he has for himself coming into year one. But you talk to players like, and we'll ask Emory about it, but all of his teammates that have been through here over the past couple of weeks and months have spoke very highly about Brian Kelly. And I can tell you from this seat, it's not just into the camera. Even off the camera, when you're talking to these guys about what's going on around LSU football, I mean, they are very excited. In fact, there's a great article over at Yahoo right now detailing Walker Howard in his position in this quarterback race. And Tyler Natuno writes the latest article over at Yahoo Sports detailing the LSU quarterback competition going into the fall, right? And as Natuno points out in the opening paragraph, that one of the juiciest quarterback competitions from around the country is at LSU, and he mentions Miles Brennan, Jaden Daniels, and Garrett Nussmeier, and how one of the forgotten names, or the left out name, may be the most talented and have the brightest future in Walker Howard. And in a conversation that Natuno has with Howard, he talks about his relationship with Brian Kelly and just how cool it is to have Kelly's hands-on approach to the quarterback position. And I'm quoting here, this is coming from Walker Howard to Yahoo Sports, saying, "He's very involved. It makes me fired up to have a head coach so involved with me and the quarterbacks. He corrects me after every single thing I do. He's just always trying to help me improve. I'm thankful for Coach Kelly always teaching me after every rep." So, I mean, that's the future of the program, giving you ideas of just Brian Kelly's approach to coaching that position, the quarterback position. But again, it just goes into more of what I'm saying in the sense of everybody you talk to, whether it's even like his bosses, like Verge Osbury and Stephanie and Cody Worsham and those guys. Not that Cody's his boss, but I mean, he works at an executive level and oversees parts of football. I mean, again, this is stuff that they tell you in off the microphone too. I mean, it just seems like for what they hired Brian Kelly to do, they got more than they expected, which is a good thing. It's a really good thing. Daily, we're brought to you by Fresh Chef Kitchen. Remember Fresh Chef Kitchen. You can find them online at Fresh Chef Eats. We tell you about Chef Shane over there and how much he's helped us out. The convenience, right? Fresh Chef Kitchen is on Facebook. They got a great Facebook site, but they're located at 14111 Airline Highway. Fresh Chef Kitchen offers a wide variety of fully prepared meals prepared with both health and flavor in mind. We can attest to that over here at FM Digital Media, and the convenience of it. They drop off our pre-made meals on Monday, whether it's breakfast, lunch. Everybody here around the studio knows that they have a selection in the refrigerator that all they have to do is heat up, and that they can eat with food that is healthy. It's good for you. It's made with love, lots of passion. This is what Fresh Chef Shane and the crew do over there at Fresh Chef Kitchen. Find them on social media, on Facebook. You can also find them online at freshchefeats.com. Freshchefeats.com for our daily help here with our food over here at the studio, Fresh Chef Kitchen. Find out for yourself. We'll be back here on the Jordy Culotta Show. We will talk to Giovanni DiGiacomo coming up here at 8 a.m. Gio made the decision yesterday to put his name in the transfer portal, or ask him how he got to that choice, what's next for Gio, and what was his first year, or what was his only year, like under Jay Johnson here at LSU. All coming up next here on the Jordy Culotta Show, driven and powered by Go Chevrolet. Southern Eye Center is located. Go Chevrolet is proud to announce Go Express Auto Sales, the new used car lot located in the capital city of Baton Rouge, Louisiana, at 11522 Florida Boulevard. Go Express Auto Sales is online at goexpressautosales.com, or you can search them on Facebook and social media at Go Express auto sales, the newest addition to the family of Go Chevrolet. Remember, Go Chevrolet is located down in Laplace, Louisiana, but now welcoming aboard Go Express, the new used car lot located in Baton Rouge, Louisiana at 11522 Florida Boulevard. Social media at All right, welcome back here to the Jordy Culotta Show, driven and powered by Go Chevrolet. Hopefully we can link up with Nick Underhill before we get out of here at 9 a.m. to get the latest on the New Orleans Saints. Saw more of Tyrann Mathieu in a New Orleans Saints uniform yesterday. Football pornography, people. That is what they are producing down there in Metairie with Jarvis Landry and Tyrann Mathieu. It is incredible to see them in a New Orleans Saints uniform. One guy who we will miss seeing in an LSU baseball uniform is one of our favorites. Not just because of his heritage, and his Italian descent and his beautiful hair, but because of what he brought the LSU baseball program the last 4 years. Out of Naples, Florida, Gio DiGiacomo, Naples, Florida's native, spent the last 4 years in Baton Rouge. He was drafted by the Pittsburgh Pirates back in the 2018 MLB draft, but yesterday tweeted out that number 7 is moving out of Baton Rouge and going to move into the transfer portal. Bumming news, man, for Gio's supporters, but hopefully brighter days are ahead for our Italian who is taking off here from LSU. We bring him into the conversation this morning. It is great to see him here on a Friday morning. We go down to Florida and talk to Gio DiGiacomo. Gio, good morning, man.
News, man.
Thank you for joining us. Twitter.
Brighter days are ahead for
doing okay, man.
Our Italian,
tell me a little bit about how you
LSU.
got to this choice. Obviously, this was a tough choice for a lot of people to see on social media yesterday, but one that I believe that you probably have been thinking about for a while. How did we get here?
Yeah, it's one of those tough decisions that a lot of guys got to make, and it was just one of those years. Wanted to play quite a bit and didn't get that opportunity. I think a lot of players stepped up in my spot, and I was very thankful for just even the opportunity to come back under a new coach. I know a lot of guys weren't so sure about it, but Coach Johnson was great the whole year and, took me in and a lot of the other guys and gave us an opportunity. So I'm very thankful for that. But, I want to be able to use my last year and contribute and play quite a bit. And, he was really respectful to me and was very nice in our exit meeting, and I think we talked about a lot of good things, and I think he thought this was a good idea too. And, I talked to my family about it quite a bit, and they're supporting me, and, I'm only excited for the future.
Absolutely. Can you take me through the last year of what it was like spending that with Johnson? And, I mean, you were such a key contributor to Paul Maneri's LSU baseball program. What was it like the last year with Johnson, whether it was the initial meeting, playing for him this season, to ultimately making the choice over the last 72 hours to transfer out of the program?
Yeah, coming in, I didn't know what to expect. I'm actually was rooming with Jacob Berry and Riley Cooper, so I had like a little bit of insight. But, that was probably one of the most intense falls to go through. Ton of practice and just like going over all this baseball IQ stuff and understanding the game inside the game and focusing on the mental aspect of it. It was really different, but I think that was a little change that I needed to kind of up my game and make me the best player that I could be. And I think he knew that for a lot of the other guys. That's what he does. He takes players and makes them the best version of himself. And he does that really well. So I feel like I'm the best player that I am right now because of him and his staff, And, I didn't hit the way that I wanted to, and I think that kind of is, a determining factor for a lot of players, especially in this league because of how tough it is. But, I had a good 4 years, and I really appreciated all that Johnson's staff did.
Yeah.
And he made me the hitter that I am, and I still got a lot of stuff to work on. A long way to go, but I want to enjoy my last year, and I thought it'd be a good idea to go somewhere else, and I think he agreed.
I kind of relate Jay Johnson to Sean Payton when he was with the Saints. You always feel secure that the offense is going to be good, right? Like with Johnson now at LSU, you always feel like they are going to be offensively potent. You felt like that with Sean Payton. Can you talk about the emphasis that he puts on that side? Because I think you feel like one of the best defenders in college baseball, but when it came down to it, I guess offensively he's looking for a bar, I guess. What is his offensive philosophy?
It's just kind of like a dog mentality. You got to go out there and compete your butt off and not give in. You're not chasing out of the zone and you're attacking any mistake. Just doing anything you can to get on base or complete the job that's at hand. It's a really, really cool offense, like narrative and how that all works and gels everybody together.
Yeah.
And I think when our offense is hot, it's unstoppable. Putting however many runs we put on Vandy when we went there was absurd.
Yeah.
Anybody that was there watching it was just like, I can't believe what's going on. But, the defensive part is one of my favorite things about the game. And, I wish I could have contributed a little bit more, but I don't regret anything. Being in that dugout was probably the most fun I've had since I've been here. Even though I wasn't playing, just being able to be with those guys and support them the whole season and watch them go off was really, really cool. And I'm very thankful for that.
Wrap up your LSU experience for me. What are you leaving behind? What was this experience like for you?
Droves of women.
I think I'm leaving a place that I can call home in a way. I've been here 4 years. I've met a lot of really awesome people. The fans, you can't find anywhere else. You can't find this food anywhere else. I'm leaving behind a lot of good friends and, people that I would call family. But I definitely think I'll be coming back. We got a lot of people here that I enjoy, a lot of families that I, want to come and see again. So this isn't goodbye forever, but for a little bit.
What are you looking for next? What does the school need to have?
I'm looking for a school that has a need for an outfielder, specifically like in center field. Someplace that I can go help take an advantage, and provide them a service that I'm offering. Playing center field and being a quick base runner, good bat, wherever they need me, and just being able to be utilized somewhere. I don't really have too much of a preference, but going closer to home would be nice.
I was about to say, has your phone been blowing up since you made the announcement?
I've been talking to a couple schools a little bit, get a bunch of emails and stuff like that, but I'm still kind of new to this whole process. I kind of feel like I'm in high school again.
Is that are you kind of inviting to that? Is this kind of a cool experience to have at this point in your life after you know what it's like to go through it again?
Yeah, it is kind of cool. I'm excited about it. I thought I'd be more nervous or, a little more upset about this process, but, I don't think I mind the change so much. I'm just kind of excited to see what's next.
So do you make the decision before you make your summer choice, or do you make your summer choice without making your school decision yet? How does your timeline work?
That's a good question. I think I'm just going to stick to my, summer plan, just working out, grinding live ABs and stuff like that. And then trying to find that right fit. And then once I feel, I found that right fit, talk to my family about it, get working on that.
Did you graduate?
I did not graduate. So I had switched my major my freshman year. So I'm behind a couple classes. I literally only need 3 or 4 classes.
Wow.
To finish my major.
So do you do that this summer? Will you do that before you make your choice, or will you just go to another campus and finish up?
I would finish it at another campus.
Okay.
Just because I'm not sure if I would meet a complete degree requirement. So I would probably just finish that as my senior year.
Got you. Bro, you know how fun it's been watching you play. Thank you for always being grateful for your time and kind with your time and joining us and coming on here. When you come back to Baton Rouge, we'd love to get you in studio. What was your favorite restaurant? What was your favorite meal?
Oh, it would have to be over Rufino's with Shelly.
Nice.
That place is just awesome.
Shout out to Shelly Malonzo.
He takes good care of us, too.
Yeah, he does, man. He's a great dude.
You're the family.
Yes, and keep it in the family.
Yeah.
All right, you beautiful Italian. Have a great weekend, man. We'll see you.
Thank you.
All right, man. There he is, Giovanni DiGiacomo, one of our favorites here, making his decision to jump into the transfer portal. And look, I think we speculated about it yesterday when we saw the news, and he confirmed it. Gio's probably one of the best defenders in the country. I don't know if you'll be hard pressed to find two center fielders better than him in college baseball. But as he said there pretty transparently that just offensively he couldn't keep up. You know, I mean, he couldn't produce at enough of a rate that Jay Johnson could trust him every day to have into the lineup. It gives you an idea of Johnson's philosophy. It doesn't matter where you are defensively, or, you know, I mean, at least when we look at a guy like DiGiacomo, that's what the data says, because he's as good as college baseball can provide from a defender. And if you can't hit, you can't play at LSU. And it doesn't matter the ancillary parts or the auxiliary parts that you may have around your game. You better be able to hit first, and that's going to be the way that you make it in LSU baseball and the way that it's constructed now. And I believe when what I said from the analogy standpoint, I kind of feel like now with Jay Johnson in place with LSU baseball, the same way I felt with Sean Payton when he was running the Saints. Saints are always going to be good on offense. It doesn't matter if they've got undrafted free agents at wide receiver or running back, or Breeze has got a shoulder. It doesn't matter. They're going to be good on offense. The guy's just too smart and too, from a philosophical standpoint, he's too dialed in. And as Gio just kind of painted the picture there, last offseason was a lot about it wasn't about the physical stuff that they were going through with Johnson. It was the mental stuff that they were learning about the game within the game. Very complimentary from Gio on his way out.
You can kind of hear it still. It's so raw.
He's bumming.
I mean, he's sad. Yeah, absolutely.
He's bummed.
Still there.
Still, yeah. I feel for him. He had to be absolutely leaving just a wake of people in Baton Rouge.
Oh.
Like, I'm sure he had so many good memories that he's had.
They are mourning in Tigerland this morning.
Yeah.
Let me
Wait,
tell
the
you.
Italians not coming back?
I mean, they are. It is a sad day in the on Sorority Row.
So many shirts left behind.
Yes. I mean, jeez. Can I just keep? It's like keeping a blade of grass. Can I just keep a lock? Can I cut a lock to keep?
It wakes up with the girls over his hair. And he's like, oh, God, like Sampson.
Remember that conversation brought to you by our friends over at Barker Brothers Plumbing and Works. Our friends over at Barker Brothers Plumbing and Works. Get in touch with them today. They're located over in West Baton Rouge Parish. But as we tell you every day, they got two trucks working on this side of the river so they can help you out. Number one in a number two business. That is Barker Brothers Plumbing and Works. They've got experienced carpenters on staff. So the next time you're thinking about an industrial or a residential remodel, Barker Brothers can help you out with all of that, man. Plumbing, carpentry, all over at Barker Brothers Plumbing and Works. We tell you all the time, no social media, no website. Demand's too high, so just get the phone number. 225-776-2431. 225-776-2431. The way I remember phone numbers is by jersey numbers, so if you want to remember this one, just remember Derek Stingley and Dominic Davis. 225-776 Sting Davis. 2431. 225-776-2431. Mention the Jordy Culotta Show. Save yourself 15% on the bottom line. Doesn't matter the service that you get from Barker Brothers. Could just be a cleanup, or you got something that's on a job that you got to have cleaned up immediately. If you mention the Jordy Culotta Show, 15% off of your ticket over there at Barker Brothers Plumbing and Works. 225-776 Derek Stingley, Dominic Davis. 776-2431. Back with more Jordy Culotta Show, driven and powered by Go Chevrolet.
True Blue Water, true hydration at its finest. Right now, you're only a few minutes away from getting your 5-gallon water delivered to you, just like we are over here at the UDL. All you got to do is log on to truebluewater.com. That's TRU, bluewater.com. The website's fantastic over at truebluewater.com. You can get your service and find out how quick it is. You can schedule a delivery, even hop on the billing system right there at truebluewater.com. TRU, bluewater.com.
Do you have questions about your finances? Are you looking for recommendations from a skilled financial advisor? Get in touch with our friend Daniel Newman over at Edward Jones. You can find him easily by logging online and shooting him an email at daniel.newman@edwardjones.com. That is daniel.newman@edwardjones.com. Whether it is help with your 401k or just fiscal advice heading into the new season, get in touch with Daniel today. Best way to do it? Email him, daniel.newman@edwardjones.com. He's our experienced financial advisor. Let him be yours, daniel.newman@edwardjones.com.
The Jordy Culotta Show is brought to you daily by Morales Roll-Offs. Morales Roll-Offs provides dumpster rentals for residential and commercial needs in Baton Rouge and surrounding areas. Morales has roll-off dumpsters ranging from 10 yards to 40 yards to accommodate all of your disposal needs. Search online, moralesrolloffs.com. The Jordy Culotta Show is brought to you daily by Morales Roll-Offs. Morales Roll-Offs provides dumpster rentals for residential and commercial needs in Baton Rouge and surrounding areas. Morales has roll-off dumpsters ranging from 10 yards to 40 yards to accommodate all of your disposal needs. Search online, moralesrolloffs.com. The Jordy Culotta Show is brought to you by A-Bears Lawn Maintenance. Commercial or residential, A-Bears Lawn Maintenance is ready to work. A-Bears can tackle all your homeowners association requirements. Call Blake at 225-485-8022. A-Bears Lawn Maintenance.
Bed. Welcome back. Here to the Jordy Culotta Show, driven and powered by Go Chevrolet. Remember, we are driven and powered by Go. They are down there in Laplace, Louisiana. Brand new car lot down in Laplace, Louisiana. Used car lot over here at Go Express Auto Sales. Lloyd might be the newest addition to the Go Chevrolet family here. Over the next, hopefully, did you call our boy, Nick Richard?
I did. I followed your instructions. I like the sleight of the little backhand that you gave me. He'll hold your hand through the whole process. Like, all right, Dad, thank you.
Yeah, well, I had to explain to him.
Yeah.
I'm sending you someone who you're going to have to hold their hand through the entire process.
I'm an idiot.
Yes.
Can you please help me and not screw me over?
I'm sending you a degenerate.
Yes.
Buying cars 101.
Yeah,
for
exactly.
dummies.
Yeah, I've looked up some stuff on Google yesterday. I'm an expert now. But no, I sent him the text. And
No
he
need
said,
to do that.
He gave me the 10-4. So I'm going to give him a call after the show.
Nice, perfect.
I'm very excited.
New car.
He's been
Car.
briefed. He's been briefed.
Yes.
He knows what he's dealing with.
Wearing a number 1 dad shirt. He's not even a dad.
Nice. Is that for Gidget?
Yeah. Oh. R.I.P.
Sounds like it's a cat name though, man.
It is.
It is, but I think he's a big old pity.
Burgess had a pit bull.
I think so.
No
I think
way.
It sounds like a pit bull.
Rest in peace, Gidget. We're sorry, Brian Burgess. No tougher day than your dog dying. My dad called me from the vet when he was killing our dog. And he was like, oh.
FaceTime?
No, I was in Baton Rouge. And he's like, so you didn't want to come down to put the dog down? I was like, I'm 2.5 hours away. Like, take care of the thing. It's over. He tried to do it himself, and then the dog shook back. He bounced back the next morning.
Really?
Yeah, he wasn't ready.
Wow.
Boy told us
time.
this story the other day.
Yeah.
I was amazed.
Wow.
Yeah. So
Like the meme of old boy in the back of the casket on the truck when they're riding down the road and in the casket.
that was exactly it. They held each other in their arms, and Dad thought it was over, and he woke up the next morning and shook it off. He's like, no way, this dog is alive.
Dude, the LeBron of dogs.
Exactly. Can't
Dog's
kill
got
me.
Can't kill him.
lives.
Is he still alive?
No. We had to
Okay.
go to the experts.
Okay.
But it did make me sad. I cried when he called me. Then my friends walked in and had a new friend that I hadn't met yet. And I had like a little like tears in my eyes, a little bit like, "What's up, man?" I was like, I was just sweeping up in here. And I was like, I can't believe I went to the oldest excuse of the book. I got some dirt in my eye.
Oh, wow. You ran from the crying.
What do you mean?
You ran from? You didn't
Yeah.
tell
Oh,
me
well, I
the
didn't know
crying?
this guy. I would have told my
Okay,
friend,
okay.
but he was bringing one of his engineer friends. The guy was like
Ugh.
total tuck in the shirt into the shorts, and I was like,
God.
this fucking rube. Like, I would like, I can't be showing weakness in front of this guy.
Tube socks and a braided
Yeah,
belt.
Absolutely.
Get this dude out my game.
Get this dude out my house. Yeah, out my life.
Yeah.
And
I'm
I was-
crying. Say
yeah,
something.
Yeah, I should have just bitch slapped him right there. And I was like, get this guy
My
out.
dog died.
Yeah. What you gonna say? I got nothing to lose right now.
I'll beat your ass right now about my
Here,
dog.
sweep this dust up while I'm
Yeah,
gone.
I'll cry in your eyes. Taste my tears.
I had no idea that Mike Thomas was this hurt. Really, I thought that he sprained his ankle. I thought he was really just pissed off at Sean Payton.
Throwing himself a party.
I mean, is he gonna really like miss this stuff? Is he? I mean, if he's just missing it because he's high paid and he's paid, I'm good with it. I'm okay with that. Like, I'm not the practice every rep guy if you're a superstar. You know what I mean? Like Tyrann Mathieu, that don't happen. You know what I mean? That guy doesn't take in every practice. I mean, that usually doesn't go like that. But this Mike Thomas stuff, man. I mean, I'm reading here the latest on Mike Thomas that says Thomas is busting his tail to get back for minicamp, but he's doubtful for minicamp. Allen, this is coming from Dennis Allen. He said, I'm good with where Mike Thomas is. I would much rather him be at 100% healthy and out here and all those kinds of things, but that's not where we're at right now. He's busting his tail to get himself ready to go, and I feel like he's making significant progress. I think mentally he's in a great place, and again, we're just going to let that process play out and get him healthy. And look, we have a long time to go before we play a game. I'm not looking for a huge jump. I just want to see him getting a little bit better every day. I really had no idea. I mean, I thought that, like, when Sean Payton announced his retirement and everything was like, I thought that for sure he was going to be ready for OTAs. And even if he wasn't ready for OTAs and didn't want to go, okay, fine, cool. But I mean, I never doubted whether or not he was
Healthy.
100% healthy. I mean, did he get a whole new foot? I mean, like, what is the injury? I thought he just rolled his ankle. Did he break it?
He had surgery on it twice, right?
Yeah.
It's a-
To me, he pulled a Scottie Pippen last year.
absolutely.
Like,
Yeah, but
he waited till the end of the
Pippen
summer.
pulled it because they didn't pay him.
I know.
I mean, Mike Thomas was the highest paid wide receiver in the league. What are you mad about? What are you so pissed about?
Him and Sean Payton had beef.
Okay,
For sure.
that's fine. But now that Peyton's gone, I mean, like,
You got to come back.
I mean, cuz you got to play. I mean, or at least
Wouldn't you want to be in OTAs a little bit? This guy,
he's missed a lot of football, man.
that's what I'm saying. See, make sure you're right. Like, I know Michael Thomas is Michael Thomas, but it seems like you'd be excited to like any chance to go out and compete and run around and be with like your team. Be like, hell yeah, I'll go to OTAs. Like, I won't go every day,
right?
But I want to go for a
hang out.
little.
Well, I'll go stand on the sideline,
Yeah.
Right?
You know what I mean? Like, I mean, I'll be a part of the squad. I mean, I don't know. I mean, I've heard reports that, I mean, even that video of him running that, I mean, that looks 100% to me.
Yeah,
I mean, he was moving. And the injury's an ankle? He looks fine. I guess he's going to be ready, though. I mean, I guess I don't mean to be dramatic, but I mean, I just didn't.
Well, it's hard not to match drama with drama.
I just didn't know that he was this hurt. I didn't know that it was like you were still waiting on him to like cross health barriers to like prove that he's 100%.
I mean, how many times did we play the game last year? When's Michael Thomas coming back? It never felt like it was going to be a full year, and now it's creeping into year 2, and it just seems everything around him is always so bizarre. Whether he's playing well, it's always very Michael Thomas, and I don't know. I mean, I like him. Obviously, I want him to play well because he helps the Saints so much, but let's get out. Like, let's get back out there.
Just stay out of the news.
Yeah, let's start catching the
Like,
football.
Must have got a new foot.
Don't worry about. You know what I mean? Like,
Wrong size.
I don't need these updates. I don't want to hear these updates. Like, just let me see you when you were ready to go. You know what I mean? Like, I just. But I expect him to be dressed, ready, game 1, play 1. And, you know, I mean, the thought of him at 100%, playing alongside Jarvis Landry, Chris Olave, Alvin Kamara, a healthy Jameis. I mean,
And that's the other thing. He hadn't played with Jameis yet. You'd want to go to OTAs. Like, let's get a little chemistry. Let's go throw in the backyard. Let's go do some of those weird workouts you do, Jameis. I'm all for it. You have my uncle hit me with some pads in the backyard. I mean, whatever works, dude. Put that elastic band around my waist. Make me look 290 pounds.
Good day for Shelton Sampson yesterday as he was over at LSU. Shelton Sampson, from one wide receiver, we go to another, the number 1 wide receiver in the country, who is right here out of Baton Rouge over at Catholic High School. Shelton Sampson going into his senior year, a total game changer, a guy that can change the scoreboard. Nearly every time he touches the ball, he's got this type of ability where, I mean, he can jump higher than everybody out there. He runs faster than just about everybody guarding him. And he has this fluid, simple look to him while it's happening where it looks very easy. If you remember, I played against his dad, Shelton Sampson Sr. at Redemptorist, who went on to Northwestern and had a great career up there. He was a more like bruising style, big running back that he could run away from you, but he would run you over too. And he liked contact. His son is a different type of athlete in the sense of he can run like Shelton could run, the dad. He just is a different player in his, I guess, the finesse of him. I mean, Shelton Sampson Sr. he wouldn't jump over you and run away from you like that. I mean, he would catch a tall sweep and he could run you over and then run away from you. But his son, you know, can catch a slant route and take it the distance from anywhere on the field. You know, we talk about, you know, athletes like Odell Beckham Jr., who we've seen take a slant route 90 yards on an NFL field. I mean, that is, to me, that's one of the most impressive athletic performances that you can do in competition, right? Like dunking over somebody in an NBA game, running away from somebody on an NFL field, you know, taking a Cy Young style pitcher to, you know, deep in a big moment and, you know, for a big home run. I mean, there's just a small selection of even the elite athletes that can perform at that time and those moments on that level.
Jamar.
Shelton Sampson has that ability. He has that ability. I mean, like, you want to see him do it every Friday night. You want to see him do it every day. You want to see him become more competitive in his demeanor. But I think that stuff will come because he is also, like Stingley was a couple of years back, he's very young for his age, for his grade, right? Stingley could have been a class, what was he, class of 18, 19? He could have been a class of 20 guy. Stingley, when he showed up to LSU, he was 17 years old. He turned 18 within his freshman season of playing football at LSU. I mean, Sampson's the same way. He's a very young junior in high school, senior, rising senior in high school. So, I mean, you're still going to get one more big physical development from him once he hits a college weight room, once he gets into the nutrition system and starts eating, 3 square meals a day. Not to say that he's not getting that, but it's just his body and age is going to go through one more, scientific type change before he really is his best version of his D1 self. I mean, he'll probably be, even bigger and badder as an NFL player, but I still think that he's still, from a physical standpoint, just the way that he's still very immature physically. And he's better than everybody.
Still moves
right?
like a giraffe.
Yeah, I mean, like he runs, but he had a great visit to LSU over the past couple of days. And this was actually on Tuesday when he was there. Wednesday he was there. And Shelton Sampson has been on LSU's campus a couple of times. I think this was his 5th time to be on campus. But as people around him have recognized and said, this trip was a little different. And I think it was different from the standpoint, in talking to some people around LSU, is that this new staff has opened the door to Shelton Sampson, where he is always welcome. He's got a open invite to the facility. He's one of those players that's in Baton Rouge that LSU wants to be around as much as possible, right? They just want to create the relationship. So up to this point, that it's been a lot what it's been like, is just allowing him in, letting him know that he's welcome, letting him get to know everybody, getting him on a first name basis with everybody. This last time, it was about football. It was, okay, sit down, come into the meeting room, let us show you some film, sit down with Mike Denbrock and Cortez Hankton, the wide receiver and offensive coordinator, and let them tell you how they're going to use you. Look at this film. This is what they have in mind. Start talking about the football portion of getting Sampson on campus. And by all accounts, it looks like it was a tremendous success. In fact, Sampson told 247 Sports, it felt like an official with how structured everything was. They set the bar high. We talked a lot about academics. Then he's talking about Cortez Hankton when he says he. Then he started showing me film of the team when he got there, to receivers and to now. He showed me how the drills they do in practice, how it translates to the reps, and how they're going to help me in one-on-ones. He showed me, he was talking about Cortez Hankton, saying they stressed the hometown angle and being close to my family, letting me know I was their number one priority in their backyard, said the nation's number 1 wide receiver and number 5 overall prospect. They are just all taking it in. They are all just taking it all in on visits and wanting me to take and make the best decision for me. We'll definitely make the decision as a family. I think that's a good sign for LSU. I really do. So for Shelton Sampson, I think that this last visit was the most effective that he's had on LSU's campus since he's been a part of this recruiting process. He's leaving today to go to Tallahassee. Official visit over at Florida State. And you're going to see a lot of these Baton Rouge kids taking these official visits to Tallahassee. Why? Because Shelton Sampson's former high school football coach, Gabe Fertitta, is now on the Florida State staff. Fertitta, who was the head coach for Catholic High, that went to the 2 state championship games and won them. And I think he went to more state championship games than that, but won 2 state titles as Catholic High's head coach. Has a great relationship with all these guys, so he's going to get visits from a lot of Baton Rouge kids and South Louisiana kids because of just his familiarity with these prospects. So Sampson will be a part of the 7-on-7 camp today at LSU, and then he'll hop a flight to Tallahassee and take in the weekend over at Florida State officially. But for the groundwork that LSU put down earlier this week on Sampson, it seems like that was about as good as it gets for LSU up until this point. Texas A&M seems to be the top competitor for Shelton Sampson. Jimbo Fisher, Damian Craig, Texas A&M seems to be the one that is really circling around Sampson and his recruitment. Obviously, the NIL stuff is going to come into play there. So we'll wait and see how that happens with LSU. One thing that you know about LSU and Shelton Sampson is that he is a high priority for this recruiting class. Not only because of the geography and where he is compared to the campus in Baton Rouge here, but he is a game-breaking player that you have to have in this cycle. So, Sampson went on to say to 247s, and he's talking about Texas A&M. He said, "When I went there, they treated me like family, and it felt like home, a place that I could be." He said, "Those two words are definitely important to me. I can't go someplace where I'm not going to be comfortable walking through the door while I'm in the building. I need to be comfortable. I need to feel like I'm at home." Sampson said that he will schedule his remaining official visits that will likely include Texas A&M, Michigan, possibly Oregon, including LSU and Alabama for the official visit. So hope to see this recruitment kick into high gear here for Shelton Sampson, because he's one on the board that they have to have for LSU going into next year. So it'll be interesting to see how it plays out.
And we just got a super chat from Lamar Stevens. Shout out, thank you. And there's a question for you because I don't know the answer. How many of the players on LSU starting defense only have 1 or 2 classes, maybe graduate transfers?
Like currently coming up? Mm-hmm. How many of the players on LSU starting defense only have 1 or 2 classes? Allie Gay, Mike Jones, B.J. Ojulari, Jay Ward. Who am I missing? I imagine like some of these transfers in, like Bernard Converse was a senior at Oklahoma State. I'd imagine he's probably a guy that doesn't have a lot of classes remaining.
Joe Fuchsia.
Yeah,
Joe Fuchsia.
Yeah, the older Arkansas cat.
Greg Brooks. No,
he's a sophomore.
Sophomore. I'm trying to just count them out loud. My bad here, Lamar.
Kai Gardner.
Sophomore. He's a true freshman last year, bro.
Ooh.
He's an all-SEC freshman.
I need to talk about Makai Wingo.
Okay, Gardner.
Makai
Gardner Johnson from UL. Yeah, I'm sorry. He might be.
No, he's a transfer. He went to JUCO too.
Yeah.
So he's probably like a junior.
But a lot of that defensive line, Allie Gay, B.J. Ojulari, Jaquelin Roy, for sure. So a lot of them. Mike Jones, of course, in the back end, Micah Baskerville. I mean, a lot of those guys are, almost
done
pro players. I mean, they're just focusing on football.
When you see the difference that makes whenever, obviously the best example is Joe Burrow. Whenever all he did was focus on football, he didn't have to. You can go all the way back to Matt Leinart,
Mettenberger.
Yeah. I don't think that would have mattered for old Met. I don't think he was too concerned with the classroom.
No, but he only had to take one.
Right, that's what I'm saying. I don't think he was focusing on it too much. If it had been 1 class or 10 classes, but you go back to Matt Leinart. Didn't he take like ballroom dancing his senior year at USC just because he wanted to go back?
Yeah,
because he could have left early, and he's like, no, I'll find a class. And then obviously for Burrow, it was I'm really only focusing on football. He knocked all of his classes out, graduate transfer. He treated it like it was a job. And you saw that, like, what kind of fruit that can bear, especially from a quarterback. I guess Miles Brennan probably has not, unless he's trying to be a doctor.
Todd Harris. I don't know how many more classes are on campus that he hasn't taken.
Yeah, Todd Harris for sure.
Yeah, for sure. Todd Harris is teaching classes at LSU by now.
Mr. Todd Harris, see you. Dr. Todd.
I think Bill Arnsbarger signed Todd Harris. Jerry DiNardo's class. All right, remember, Daily, we're brought to you here by City Cafe. Stop in and see City Cafe, citycafebr.net. Online, they got great lunch day specials that you can pick up Monday through Friday. City Cafe, where good friends meet. Stop in and see them for their lunch specials. Brunch specials on Sunday. They crank up at 10 a.m. Stop in and see them over at City Cafe, citycafebr.net is where you find them online. To go in there and pick up one of the great lunch day specials that they have over there. All right, we're going to get out of here a little early on this Friday. What a slow sports week. Hopefully you have a great weekend. Make sure to hit that like and share and comment button, as we appreciate you starting and ending your week with us. Come back with us on Monday morning. We are going to have a very exciting show as we were expecting something pretty big to be announced on Monday. And we will also have Jamar Cain in studio. Jamar Cain is the LSU defensive line coach. He will be here Monday morning at 7:15. So we're looking forward to talking to Coach Cain about some of his group. We just mentioned Ojulari, Gay, Jaquelin Roy, Mingo, all those guys that are, is it Mingo or Wingo? Wingo.
It's Barcavius Mingo.
That's right.
Before we leave, though, what's your bet for today?
What's the bet?
Yes, what's the bet? How did we do last night? I was 1-0.
Shohei homer late,
Okay.
but my hockey player, Khrushchev, is it something like that?
I don't know. You get in trouble.
Yeah.
Something he had.
Russian.
He had an assist, but didn't have a goal, so.
Okay, he got a point, but he
Yeah.
didn't get a...
he had a point,
okay.
had an assist, but didn't get a goal.
So what you're telling me is you lost?
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
Taking the long route to just say I lost.
I'm out of money.
Tough night.
Yeah, right. If I bet the point, I'd have won, but he did get the assist, but you bet the goal, didn't you? So you lost, right? So you lost.
You're talking like a true gambler.
Yes. All right. Remember, all of your bets.
I got bets.
All of your bets need to be placed only at one place, and that is Caesar Sportsbook. Use the Caesar Sportsbook app, and make sure you use the promo code FM15. The letter F, the letter M, 15 is your promo code to save yourself money or to get yourself a little money for your plays here today. And what's the bet yesterday? The Atlanta Braves won last night 3-1 over the Buckaroos, over the Pittsburgh Pirates. So that was a nice start for your boy. But as we talked yesterday, you're usually going to win all of your first bets. It's the bets after that you're usually worried about. So tonight, what's the bet? I'm going under 28.5 points for Steph Curry. Steph Curry is logged on to 28.5 tonight, over-under for him for his point total. And as I told you a little earlier in the show, he was noticeably limping off of the podium of the post-game press conference after Game 3. He had his knee slid into by Al Horford. It didn't look that bad, but
just awkward.
Yeah, it was very awkward. It was weird. And Curry has been the engine, the heartbeat for this Golden State team here in the NBA Finals. 28.5 points on a bum knee in an intense environment with some pretty ratchet defense coming at him from all angles. I think is going to keep him under the 28.5 proposed to you by Caesar Sportsbook, that you can download the app today and use the FM code, FM15 promo code to boost your account. Lloyd, what's your bet?
Want to know also yesterday I did the New York Rangers first to score. Thank you.
Yes.
They lose the game, but win the bet, and that's all that I care about. The Rangers scored first at home, and they got trounced by the Tampa Bay Lightning. It seems like they're a wagon. They scored 3 goals back-to-back games, so might hop on the Lightning to win the whole, take Lord Stanley Cup, as I watch not a single second of ice hockey.
Spoken like a true degenerate.
Absolutely, just picking and choosing my spots. But now I have college baseball plays. I'm going to go, this is from a guy. This is from my guy that watches college baseball intensely, wants to remain anonymous. But he just texted into him right now. I just got him. He has a 3-leg parlay.
Okay.
So we're going to go Oklahoma Sooners money line against Virginia Tech. Get all these in now because the game started, I think Oklahoma starts at 2. And we're going to go under 10.5. And this is under 10.5, Notre Dame and Tennessee. And then under 8.5, Texas at Eastern Carolina. And that game starts at 11. So get your picks in. But that's my 3-leg parlay. Oklahoma, which means parlay. If you don't know, you have to win all 3. It boosts the odds. So you wager $10, you win 82 in this scenario. So Oklahoma money line, under 10.5 in Notre Dame, Tennessee, under 8.5 Texas, East Carolina. He says the buttholes are going to tighten up in super regional play for the first game. Like the logic.
Stewie, what's your bet?
I have Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown, and Marcus Smart each over 19.5 points.
Oh, that's the boost.
Yep, that's Rachel Demita's
The
boost.
Demita boost.
What is it?
It's Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown, and Marcus Smart over 19.5 points.
Any bets on the back wall back there?
They're on the
anything.
They still have.
Jamil's got one. What you got, Jim?
I got the Warriors first to 20 tonight, but I got the Celtics winning by the 7-9 margin.
Wow.
Whoa,
Celtics favored by 4, which Jamil loves. Boston minus the 4. Then she's got Golden State first to 20. If Golden State's first to 20, my bet might be in trouble.
Yeah, that would be
Steph.
Steph. Because he's had hot first quarters.
Yes,
but
he has. He's going off.
I can't put my finger on which team I'm going to go on because I put it up on the poll, Celtics or Warriors.
Boston.
I know 72% said Boston. I love to fade the public in these scenarios.
72%. Eesh.
Everybody points. It makes
that's
no
a lot.
sense at all. But you see these games that are just kind of head scratching.
How about Boston with the goal 2 inches higher than the 10-foot
Unbelievable.
the other night?
That's such a
Jackie.
After meeting Jack, that's such a Boston
That
move.
is such a Boston move.
He was so proud of himself.
What
He
about
was-
when they got caught? You know that Boston junkie in the back, like they're looking at the goal.
Oh, yeah.
They're looking at the goal.
Spill your drink. Spill your drink.
What the hell? You think we're gonna get caught here? What?
Yeah. But then they don't
They
even
bring the ladder out there. You're like, oh shit! Oh no!
The most Boston thing about it is they're like, yeah, like they don't care at all. They're like, good. Thought we could
Well, I mean,
we'll play even now.
Isn't it the most Golden State thing to do to figure out that it was 2 inches higher?
Yeah. Yep.
I mean, who was it? Steph or Clay? Which one of you nerds
Missed three-
saw that it was 2 inches just because you were off by a half a ball?
Yeah, no
You know what I
doubt.
mean? Like that's not 10 feet. Like,
Yeah.
what do you mean?
I haven't missed 3 in a row since I was 6.
Right. I don't miss to the left like that from this corner.
Yeah.
Like, son of a bitch.
Yeah, the worst team to try to pull it off against.
No doubt.
Because Zion would just be like, I can
Oh,
still
yeah.
dunk
You mean
on
just
this.
hold on to it?
I'll
bring
lower
out
it
a couple
for you.
inches?
Yeah, but tell me when.
Yeah, right. Ben Simmons would have been making excuses. You see, this is why I can't shoot. All the league's goals are 2 inches taller.
He's probably going back to Philly and measuring it right now. He's like, I knew it.
Who's the hero, though? Some guy's been walking around Boston since early this week, not paying for a drink or food. His buddy's introducing him to, hey, Sal, check it out here. I got David with me. He's the one that put the goal up 2 inches.
You should have done it one. You
Your
done.
drinks are for free.
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
But then that match up so much with winning time and how they're like, I mean, going into Boston, like anything can happen. Where they're like, it's the like, luck of the Irish or whatever they said, the curse of lucky, and it's so like it hits it to a T that they'll do anything to win, and it just paints the picture of how nasty that place is, which I love. I mean, those people are in it.
Me too.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, they're in it, bro.
If you're gonna be an LSU fan, you almost have to like shake
Respect
hands.
balls. Yeah, right.
Game respects game.
Well, it's like Russillo.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, like, he was like, this is my long-lost home. You know, like, I mean, when he came down here, it was like, I just feel so comfortable down here.
Yeah, they're all smart asses.
Yeah, right?
Drink a lot.
I thought they were nice in the South.
Yeah, you found the right pocket, Russillo.
That's right.
Smart. Yeah, who's the jerk?
Who's the douche? Yeah. All right, have a great weekend. Hit that like, share button. Make sure you check out What's the Bet. Download the Caesars Sportsbook app. Download it today and use the promo code FM15. You see it right there on your screen. Letter F, letter M15 to get yourself boosted into the Caesars Sportsbook. Take Steph Curry unders. 28.5 is my bet for today. Have a great weekend. Mikey Mott took and mic'd up 4:30 to 6 o'clock over at Uncle Earl's today. Remember, they got a $100 bar tab over at Uncle Earl's.
Despite what you might think. Or
They've got a $100 bar tab over at Uncle Earl's, for God's sakes. Make sure and get over there and go see the crowd, man. Go see the crew as they will be sitting in there recapping a little bit more of the LSU baseball season, looking ahead to Supers this weekend. So a lot to talk about coming up on Mic'd Up today, 4:30 to 6 o'clock. Make sure you liking and sharing and commenting everywhere. We appreciate the interaction. Have a great weekend. Go Chevrolet drives us every day. We'll be back with you Monday morning. Huge day on Monday for FM Digital Media.
And if we go over the tab, Mikey has to pay for it, so let's get over 100. That happened last.
Hell
So
yeah.
let's tap that thing up. Let's go 200. He's got it.
Yeah, he got it.
He's got it. 5 years on the bigs, dude. He's got it.